Now we are going to load a GRV. Staying in the Products and Services tab, we go down to Process Transactions. This brings up a little window asking you to select the transaction type. This window is common across the clients, reservations, properties tabs as well. So we need to select the correct tab on the top of this one. You've got cash, debtors, creditors, stock and ledger, but we are loading a GRV, so we're going to be working in the stock tab, this one over here. And now we are going to go down to the procurement console, the second button from the top. When we click on here, it brings up this window with 4 different options. We have a stock transfer tab, the internal purchase requisition, purchase order, and stock purchases. We are buying stock, so we are going to be working in the stock purchases screen. And to do that, we click on the big green plus sign. Now this brings up a client search screen. In this screen we are going to search for our supplier who we are buying from. So you search for your supplier by typing in their name. In this case we are going to use Build It. And if you were to maximize the screen, it shows you all the information for the supplier. In this case we are looking for company, so we are going to choose Build It Port Edward, because that's our supplier we're going to use. Then you go down to the bottom of the screen on the right hand side and say select. Now once you've done that, it brings up this window, which on the left hand side shows you all the supplier information, their name and their address. The next part you do is you fill in the delivery details. In order to do that, you'll click on the calendar button and choose today's date. You do not have to worry about the time on this side. Then the next block here is transaction defaults. The type is always going to be GRV, goods received voucher. You select your location to where you want your stock loaded. In this case we are buying in some maintenance stock. So you search for your relevant resort and then you look for your maintenance. And you do the same process for housekeeping, or if you are buying for the shop or restaurant, you would stay on the administration tab. Store, you do the same, you search for your relevant resort and where the stock is going into. In this case we are putting it into the maintenance store. You select that. The name here will default to the person who's logged in, which should always be the person who's loading the stock, which in this case is my name here. The last block at the top is transaction details, which defaults to today's date and time. Your reference here, you can put in the reference that shows on the invoice number, on the actual invoice from the supplier, or you can put in whatever you would like to use as a reference. On this specific invoice we don't have any unique reference number, so we are just going to put in the invoice number, but you can put in additional information there, like whatever the case may be. So this, we're going to say plaster, not laster, plaster, and I can't spell. Right, there we go. The next block down is transaction number. This will show not posted because the transaction has not been posted on the system yet. The next block down shows invoice number. Here you are just going to add in the invoice number reflected on the invoice from the supplier. So again, you'll just type in whatever it may be, and then you click on OK. Now, this section below, where it is blank, is where you'll be adding the stock in. In order to do that, you'll click on the green sign which says Add New Item. and by clicking that it brings up a stock search screen. This stock search screen shows everything listed on the system, so it can be quite overwhelming. In order to choose the correct stock, you'd select stock group and you would scroll down to select your relevant resorts items only, and then you would search again. You'd click on maintenance store. Now what this does is it has filtered out only your resort's specific stock files listed under maintenance. So this is best practice so that you do not select the incorrect stock item, which could go missing if you load it incorrectly. So now you can go into the for text box and you can do a search for whatever it is that you may be looking for. And in this case I'm selecting plaster of Paris 5 kgs. Now you have two options here. You can either double click on the item, or you can click once to highlight it and go up there to add item, which throws it to the bottom of the screen here in this block, and you are going to say there how many you are buying. So I am buying one tub of 5 kgs and I'm happy with that. If you're buying more than one item, you can do it in the same screen at the same time. So you'll just go back to the for text box and you will search for the item that you are adding. In this case I'm also buying paint toffee 5 liters, and I can double click and it drops it to the bottom of the screen here, and then you choose how many you're buying. I'm buying 2 5-liter tubs. These are the only 2 items I'm buying that are on my invoice. So once I've selected my items and put in their quantities, I go up to the top right hand side of the screen and say accept items. Now it brings you back to the GRV screen. As you can see, now it's listed everything there, the stock code, description, where it's going, the stock price, and everything else. We have not bought this item before, so it shows that the prior price is 0. So to put in a new price, you've got 3 options. You can put in the item price if you are buying 10 items and it gets split up into how much those 10 items cost individually. Your second option is to put in the exclusive price. This means without VAT, or you can put it inclusive, so that's the total price including VAT that shows on your invoice. 5 kgs of plaster of Paris for demonstration purposes only. I'm saying it's 100 Rand. As you can see, it has, in the exclusive column, it has removed the VAT from the price, and it has also shown that the total price for that stock item is 100 Rand. There's only one. The next item, for 2 5 liters of paint, I'm going to say I'm paying 350 Rand for both of them, except I'm entering it in the wrong column. You put that total price in the inclusive column, 350 Rand. In the exclusive, it removes the VAT, and then it also breaks it down here in the stock price. It's 175 Rand per item. Now once I've done that and I've loaded all my stock and I'm happy, I go up here to where it says post. This means I'm going to finalize the transaction, but before you do that, you need to go down to the bottom of the screen, bottom right hand side, and that shows you your total amount, and this amount must correspond to what's written on the invoice. Once you're happy with that, then you can go up to where it says post and you click on it. Now it says confirm transaction, and it's giving you an option here. If you want to print or preview, you can say here print the transaction, and this will send a printed copy to your printer. If you do not wish to print it, you click on the drop down and say do not print or preview the transaction, You can always go back to these items later on because everything is saved on the system forever. So we're not going to print this option. If you were printing it, it would give you the option here for standard A4 layout, what the printer's name, where it must go, and you can also choose how many copies you wish to print. And we say post. Transaction has been posted, so the stock is now loaded on the system. Say OK. You'll see the system, the screen resets back to blank. And that is how to load a GRV. If you are done, if that's the only one you're going to load, you can go up to the top right hand side of the screen and say close. And now on the stock purchase GRV screen, it shows you what you've just loaded. All your invoices loaded forever and a day will be listed here. And when you have more than one, you can actually go and click on them, and it will show you in the bottom pane of the screen what you have loaded and how much each of those items cost. And you can always do a date search if you want to go back in time, and it will bring it up at the top of the screen, and you can print those GRVs out again. And that is how to load stock.